Paul Murphy from Kingscott Accountants in Gloucester. Today I will be presenting some short demonstrations of a cloud accounting software package called Xero. At Kingscott we use several types of cloud accounting software, and Xero has been one of the most popular with clients. It has certainly been one of the most innovative packages over the past few years. It is probably worth saying at this stage, before I get started, this is really good software, but it is ultimately a means to an end. When we set up a client on a cloud system, it is with the view to saving them significant amounts of time with record keeping and also providing decent quality management accounts in a very timely fashion. In this session, we will be looking at raising sales invoices. So what you see in front of you is the main dashboard screen that you will initially see when you log into Xero. What we need to do to raise a sales invoice is click on Accounts and Sales. So this is the main section for creating and looking after sales invoices. So you can see here that a couple have been drafted, a few are waiting payment, and a few are actually marked as overdue. So that's flagging that the system is flagging it up to us that we should really be looking at these invoices. So to create something new, we can drop down here. We can create an invoice, which is what we're going to do now. Alternatively, we could create a quote for a client or a customer, and we could create a repeating invoice as well. A repeating invoice would be where you bill the same customer the same amount, say month on month, where rather than have to raise a separate invoice every month, you could just get one to automatically generate and send to the customer. It will also raise credit notes as well for when that does become is a requirement that you have. So this is the main screen for creating an actual invoice. Now the two is simply the customer name. So this is demo data here. So one of the fictitious companies already on the system is Hamilton Smith. So I'll just enter them in now. A date of the invoice. I'm just going to set that back a bit for something that will make much more sense in a later recording. The due date. This is asking us to select it at the moment, but you can tell a system that say all your sales invoices have 30-day terms, so that date could automatically populate. There is a lot of flexibility in this system to be able to tell it exactly how you run your business and kind of make the software work in your favour. The invoice number is automatically generated, although it could be overridden. Reference, we don't have one here, but you might have a purchase order from the customer or supplier, so you can put a reference in there if you do have one, but it's not mandatory. Okay, so that's those first boxes. Then we come into branding, and this is what the actual invoice will look like at the end. Now I'm just going to stick with standard here, but you could have different invoice templates for different types of customers if you so wished. For instance, those that pay by direct debit might get a different invoice to those who are given credit terms, etc. So there is the option there to make this work for your business in that respect. Okay, so the main body here, this is where we actually put in the actual meat of the invoice. Items are for stock items. So if you do carry stock, or you have services that are repeating, if you like, the same for everyone, you can actually put through an inventory item, and what that will do is actually just pre-populate all this information along as you go along. Now I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to have a blank. If I just delete that, yeah, I'm just going to have for services, but you can have that in your system if you want. So I'm just going to put a quantity of 1. You always need to put a quantity even if it is a service, but you do get used to that after a while. So I'm going to make a £400 sale, and I'm going to allocate it. So account is where it's actually going in your figures. So here there is just one account for sales, but there could be 5 different items here in this list, depending on how you want your financial data to be presented. So at the moment, let's just put this to sales. Got that. Here it's already recognised that sales carry VAT for us because we're a registered business, and so now I've got what I want. I've got an invoice there for £400 plus VAT, and I could save it if I was a bit unsure about it, but I'm quite happy with this, so I'm just going to click approve. Perfect. So now I've got an approved invoice. Now I could email this invoice directly to the client, or I could print it, or I could just save it as a PDF so that I could email it in a more bespoke email later on. So here's an actual look at what the invoice will look like now. So this is what your this is, if you like, this is how the demo company's been set up. But a lot of these bits and pieces here are completely optional. So you might hide the quantity and unit price, which you can do if you want to. You want to have your own payment terms in there, obviously, and the payment advice slip is optional as well. So you could have that. In other words, you could have this invoice look quite different to this one on screen, but I thought I'd bring it up anyway so that you've got an idea about what it will, what the system is capable of. So if I just go back to sales, actually, in here, something I didn't say there was actually you can also send statements from this system as well. So if you've got a couple of invoices that are becoming overdue, up for payment, or maybe overdue, you can also email out a statement to your customer from the system. So that just concludes the first video here on sales invoices. Back shortly.